Okay, so my kids both had chickenpox at the same time a few weeks ago, and we were stuck in the house for like 2 weeks and needed a pick-me-up, so enter this chocolate cake. It was so sweet and deliciously chocolatey. Let me talk you through it. Just like any of my basic chocolate cakes, I start with the wet ingredients, which are the eggs, the milk, and the oil, and whisk those together. Then I add the dry ingredients, which is the sugar, mix that in, and then I add the cocoa powder, the flour, the bicarb, the baking soda, everything like that, all the good stuff. I do always add a little bit of coffee into my chocolate cakes, mostly just because it really makes that chocolate flavour pop. You don't have to worry about tasting the coffee. I personally hate coffee and I never taste it. I also top it up with just a little bit of boiling water just to make sure that the consistency is right. We want these to be really, really moist. We don't want these to be dry at all. Into the oven they go, and then I started on the buttercream. This was a slightly different recipe that I used. I beat the butter for about 10 minutes until it was really light and pale and fluffy. I add the cocoa powder and the icing sugar, which have been pre-sieved, and I add that in 2 halves to make sure that it's all well mixed in. Then in goes the melted chocolate, 70% dark chocolate, and this really, really just helps make the flavour in the icing pop so much. Then I added a little bit of double cream just to help it be a bit smoother, and a little bit of milk to make sure that the consistency was right for spreading on a cake. As you saw, we only baked 2 cakes, but we then cut them in half to make it a 4-layer cake. And I'm so glad we did this because it means that you can just put even more buttercream in, which everybody wants more buttercream. It's like the best part. Actually, I think the cake is the best part, but you kind of have to have it with the buttercream. Anyway, one thing I didn't do was chill the cakes before I put the icing on, which meant that it was a little bit crumbly just on the edges where I'd trimmed it. If you know, you know. I definitely wanted to go for the more jagged, rough look, as I think a chocolate cake should be, but I mean, come on, just look at that. Perfection. It was so sweet but so delicious. What an amazing pick-me-up.